Now that we know unit circle angles, we should be able to draw any of those angles in either the positive or the negative direction and have them, their terminal side land in the correct quadrant. So, the easiest thing to think about is that when we're drawing an angle, remember this is 0 degrees, this is 90 degrees, here's 180, and here's 270 degrees. When we put an angle on the unit circle, we always start by drawing the initial side on that positive x-axis. 120 degrees is a little bigger than 90, but smaller than 180. So let's remember that that terminal side is going to be there. So this angle that we have measured here would be 120 degrees. Since the terminal side of this angle lands in the second quadrant, we would say 120 degrees is a quadrant 2 angle. Now remember, we always go in a counterclockwise direction if an angle is positive. So let's look at our next example down here, example C. Notice example C is an angle that is a negative 240 degrees. So 240 degrees, that's somewhere between 180 degrees and 270 degrees. So if we were drawing this angle as positive 240, it would land somewhere like this, where we measured the angle going in a counterclockwise direction, which is positive 240 degrees. But because this is a negative angle, that tells us instead of measuring that same 240 degrees, which goes like 180 degrees plus a little bit more, in a positive counterclockwise direction, we're going to measure this going the other direction. So we're still going to put our initial side on the positive x-axis, but we're going to swing 270 degrees in the other direction. So this angle right here, excuse me, 240 degrees, this angle right here is negative 240 degrees because we went in the negative or clockwise direction. What's really interesting here is that this angle of negative 240 and the angle of positive 120 land on the same place. They are both quadrant 2 angles and they both land on the same angle of the unit circle. So when you're doing a negative angle, you still start on that positive x-axis, but you swing in a clockwise direction 240 degrees. Let's look at this next one, 500 degrees. 500 degrees, notice that number is bigger than 360. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 360 degrees from 500. 140 degrees. So, oh, sorry, 240 degrees. 140 degrees. Let's go with that. So this is going to give me 140 degrees. So what 140, if this is 180 degrees and this is 90 degrees, 140 is somewhere around here. But that would be measuring from the positive x-axis straight to that 140 degree angle. But notice the angle we had that they asked us to graph was not 140, it was actually 500 degrees. So 500 degrees, the way that we think about that is that we go an entire 360-degree circle and then another 140 degrees, and that gives us the angle 500 degrees. Notice it lands in the same spot as 140, but it is actually 500 degrees because we've gone a full circle plus another 140.